everyone, my name is Beth and this is my Flosstube number 11. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. It's been a tough couple of weeks in the world, so thank you for spending a few minutes of hopefully relaxation with me. Before we get underway, I do want to say, though, that my channel is not going to be devoid of politics. If you're looking for someone who's not going to talk at all about things happening in the world, my channel is not going to be for you, or at least not this video, for sure. I'm not going to harp on anything. I'm not going to talk about anything for a really long time, but it is going to come up. So I'm just putting that out there, and I'm not going to apologize for it because it's been too long that people have ignored these issues, and I'm not going to be a part of that. Cool. Okay. Most of my politics you're going to find on my Instagram. So if you're into that, Busy Bee Silly Me is my Instagram, and there will be a link to it down in the description. My voice is really not the one that I want to be broadcasting right now. But if you're looking for somebody who talks about a lot of cross stitch and a little bit of politics, that's where you'll find it. All right. Also, you will notice that once again, I am filming in a different location in my house. Partly due to the fact that my office is a complete and total mess, but that is only because I am in the process of moving, which I'm really excited about, but also moving is terrible. I don't know anyone who enjoys moving, even if they're excited about where they're going next. So you're probably going to get this video of me here in my half-empty living room, and then it's going to be a few weeks probably, and then you'll get a video from me in my half-empty new apartment. But I will do my best to not disappear for 3 months like last time. And thank goodness, because I have a lot to show you today. A lot. And I've done quite a bit of shopping that has not arrived, so there will be a lot to show you coming up. So even if I don't get in a ton of stitching time while the moving is happening, there will be haul to show you. All right, so also, before we get into the stitching, I just want to give a shout out to the wonderful Missouri Flosstubers that I did a collab with recently. That was super fun. Thank you all for everybody who watched it, and I maybe even have a few new people who are here because they found me through that, so thank you very much for hanging out and spending time with me. But yeah, I had a blast doing that. That was really fun. Let's start with FFOs, because I actually have one. It's a very little one, but I have one. And of course I can't show it to you because I don't have it in my hands. It has already winged its way to its recipient, and I know they received it, which is great. It's always a little scary when you put some stitching in the mail, right? But I participated in Michelle Bendy Stitchy's Patreon trading card swap. So I stitched a little 3.5 by 2.5 inch, I think was the goal, trading card piece for somebody. We didn't know who we were gonna be, I don't know who is stitching for me, so it was a surprise that I stitched for the person I stitched for, and basically I just got some information about things that they like, and so I picked something in that and found a fun little freebie to stitch. And it was really great because she really likes Halloween, which is really not my jam, but there's Halloween cross stitches that I like the look of. I just don't really have interest in stitching them because I'm not into Halloween. So having an opportunity to stitch something Halloween and cute, I'm really thankful for the chances to get to do things like that. It's part of the reason why I stitch a lot of gifts. Although when I stitch gifts, sometimes I'm like, no, I can't let it go. Okay, so next let's talk about finishes. This first finish was a start and a finish. And as I said, my channel, not going to shy away from being political. So here's your warning. And I really like the gray gradient in the words here. I think it's really pretty. This is just some Navy Aida. And the words are, they go from white, and then they use the first 4 of the new DMCs for the gray gradient. So I've just really been in the mood lately to be doing some mindful stitching. And what that means to me is to think about a particular topic while I'm stitching, and usually it relates to the subject of my piece. And so this was a really repetitive piece, obviously. It got a little bit boring at times, but I forced myself to stitch this, start to finish with no distraction stitching in the middle. And while I was starting to feel like, itching for something else and feeling bored, just bringing my mind back to this topic. Why am I stitching this? Why do I feel uncomfortable right now? Thinking about ways that I can be an ally, thinking about ways that I can contribute in my community. So yeah, I want to say I really enjoyed stitching on this, but that's not really true, because it's hard to have your brain in this space for an extended period of time, but that's kind of the point. It's kind of the point to put yourself in the position of thinking about this, because I am extremely privileged that I don't have to think about this all the time. So, yeah. I also watched some great movies while stitching this, as well as listening to an audiobook. I watched a number of YouTube videos, including Obama's Zoom call with a number of other prominent people, as well as Hank Green made a fantastic video recently that I would recommend watching. And I watched some Black beauty YouTubers because I follow a lot of Black curly-haired women and men, actually a couple of men. And so I watched a number of their videos. I would recommend Bianca Renee made a really good video. I also watched Just Mercy, fantastic movie, probably one of the best movies I've seen in a year or more. I also watched Selma, which I enjoyed, and had a really shock moment at the beginning that I was not expecting. Thankfully, I was looking up at the screen and not stitching during it. So yeah, and the audiobook I'm reading is called You Should See Me in a Crown, and that is kind of a lighthearted young adult high school girl book, but the protagonist is a Black teenager, and she is running to be prom queen so that she can win a monetary prize and afford to go to college. So it was a rough intro to the book, just from like a writing standpoint, but I'm really enjoying it now, and I am looking forward to continuing that book. I will let you guys know what I think when I finish. All right. Next, in finishes. This was also a start and a finish. And Dad. If you're watching this, which you probably aren't, but just in case you are, turn this video off. I made this for my dad for Father's Day. And this is from Brooke's books. She has an entire series of Oz characters. And my dad is the one who gave me my love for Oz. He collects Oz books and read the books to me when I was growing up. Basically, it's his fault that I'm a giant nerd, so thanks, Dad. I cannot say that I enjoyed stitching this. Again, with the mindful stitching, I was thinking about my dad a lot while I was stitching this, but Kryneck can go die in a hole. That's a lot of Kryneck. Oh man, I did not enjoy stitching with Kryneck. So far, all of my stitching with Kryneck has been, you know, like 100 stitches total in a piece, right? So this was quite a lot more than that. And I learned a couple of things along the way. One, that I never want to stitch a piece with this much metallic in it ever again. And so I converted the called for colors in this. Brooke's books uses DMC light effects in her charts, and so I converted that to Kryneck because I have heard enough people say how god awful light effects is that I was not even willing to attempt. So I converted to all Kryneck and one Petite Treasure braid. So that was my first time using Petite Treasure braid, and I will say I really enjoyed working with that and will in the future. I tried to convert this to all Petite Treasure braid, but I couldn't find a variation in the silver like what was called for. As it was, the two silvers that I used were not very different. So you can see that like the axe and like his shoes are two different silvers. So I guess you can see it a little bit with the light that I have right now. And you can, like, it's really apparent. His body is one color, and then like inside this door with the heart is another color. And when I was stitching it, you really could not tell that those two colors were different. But then when I backstitched it, it really helped. I don't know that it was really worth doing it in two different colors, but hey. Then the Petite Treasure braid, you can see around his shoulders and hips, and like on the on the sharp edge of the axe here, is the Petite Treasure braid. And then you've got that like dark blackish gray color, and then you've got a tiny little bit of gold here in the corner. I was actually really worried about this piece until I backstitched it, and then I backstitched it and realized that he was super cute. So thankfully it made all of the Kryneck worth it, because otherwise I would have been really, really bummed out. And I do not think that all of the Oz characters have this much Kryneck. They might have, or, you know, metallic, they might have a little bit, but of course, because the Tin Man is, you know, made of metal, I guess it shouldn't have surprised me so much, but there you have it. All right, so now let's move into whips. I only have 2 whips to share with you. One is a Maynia start that I showed you guys last time, but I made a little bit more progress on it since I showed you, so I will show it again. This is Ruth Bader Ginsburg from Cloudsfactory. And I put in the courthouse, I think, since the last time I showed you. I'm really excited to put in Ruth herself. So that one only got a little bit of progress since my last video. And then a considerable amount of progress since my last video. I just about finished the Goblet of Fire portion of my Harry Potter covers collage. And So we're about to move into Goblet of Fire, or into Order of the Phoenix. And this is a good opportunity for us to have another political interlude. I posted my thoughts about J.K. Rowling's tweets on my Instagram, but if you missed it, let me just say here that I do not support what J.K. Rowling has said, and therefore do not support her. I am not a fan of cancel culture, but I don't think that's what I'm doing in this instance. She has proved to be close-minded and quick to just put vitriol onto the internet for like no good reason. And I don't understand why. It makes me really sad, and I don't really want to talk about it a lot more than that, except that my trans friends and trans people all around the world, I want you to know that I see you, and I'm sorry that she is saying such hurtful things. I can't imagine what it feels like to hear that. And I want you to know that you are valid and that you are loved and wanted and seen. And yeah. So my love for Harry Potter is not going anywhere because this community has proven that we don't need its creator to continue on, and we have made something so much better than her, that we can leave her in the dust and still have something that makes us really happy and brings us together. So if you find love and joy in Harry Potter, go ahead and keep doing that and do not feel guilty. And in my last video, I was kind of cryptic about it, but the Cloudsfactory Women in History series has a J.K. Rowling piece in it, and I own it, and I was planning to do it, and I am not going to anymore. I UFO'd that piece of my stash a long time ago. I mean, I never started it, but it went in the never gonna do pile a long time ago, because this is not the first time that she said something like this. And after all of that and the things that she said about, well, the content that she's created about Native Americans, I'm leaving her in the dust. It's a bummer, but it's gotta happen. So, I'm not slowing down on this. I really love this piece. All of that to say, I still love Harry Potter. A friend of mine messaged me after I was posting on Instagram and was like, don't let this ruin your love for Harry Potter. I won't. I just needed a little bit of a breather. So I'm going to keep working on this. Something I want to say about this piece that is cross-stitch related, I promise, is that the Order of the Phoenix section that I'm coming up to is dark blue and white. The letters are all white. If you picture the cover of Order of the Phoenix, you'll know what I'm talking about. The letters are a light color, and most of the book is a dark blue. And it's covered by my Q-Step right now, but when I did Sorcerer's Stone, the background is a like neutral brownish color, similar actually to Prisoner of Azkaban, and the letters are a light yellow. And as you can see on the back of my piece, I carry my threads behind and just stitch over them. And you've probably seen lots of pictures where I used to have a bunch of wasted thread, waist knotted over to the side here. And so I would just, when I was done with something, I would waist knot it and then I would stitch over it and then I'd clip it off. But with the Sorcerer's Stone section, you can see the darker brown threads behind the yellow. You can only see it a little bit. I mostly notice it when like I set my frame down on the floor and the light from the window is shining through, and so then it's really obvious. When I'm stitching on it just on my frame, I don't really notice it. So I'm hoping it'll be okay that when there's something behind it when it's framed that you won't be able to tell, but I don't really want to do that again. So I've clipped off all of my wasted threads and threaded them underneath what I've already done. And so I will do all of the white letters first so that when I carry the blue behind the white letters, that you'll have a layer of thread in between so that hopefully it won't be too bad. And hopefully I'll be able to like thread my blue threads when they're finished underneath blue instead of underneath white. I'll just be a little bit more deliberate. Also on this piece, I have been stitching this in an 11 by 17 Q-snap. This is an 11 by 11 Q-snap. And I was doing that because this is a big piece and that's a big Q-snap, and I thought that like being able to see more of it would help me and have like more time before I had to move the Q-snap because I could just keep going. But I found, especially on my frame, that the further I got to the right, like it was uncomfortable to stitch on. So I was moving the Q-snap anyway to have what I'm currently working on be more to the left. And so I just decided to try it in a smaller Q-snap, and boy, I am so glad that I did that because now my frame, I don't have my frame here to show you, but I use a Needlework System 4, and it's got like arms that come on the side like this and then clamp on to, that's an ant, go away, clamp onto the sides of my Q-snap. And with the 11 by 17 Q-snap, it's like just like a big honkin' frame. And with the 11 by 11 size, my frame isn't so big, and like I can be a little bit more comfortable while I'm sitting. And I don't find that I'm missing anything from not having that more space on the Q-snap. So I have two 11 by 17 Q-snaps. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I think I'm breaking up with them and sticking with the smaller size. I am still not done with my May Whipco goal for the covers collage piece. I still have some more to go on that, so that's going to be carrying into June. So I have two more Maynia starts to show you. First, I will show you a very exciting piece. And it is exciting because this is my first time ever stitching on 40 count. And as Steph from Just Keep Stitching has discovered, and I too have discovered, 40 count is awesome. It's awesome. And I'm really proud of myself for trying it. And I'm really, really enjoying it. So this is A Raven's Reply by Luminous Fiber Arts. And it's called 4 on 40 count. So when I was kitting this up, I decided that this would be a good opportunity for me to try 40 count. There you go. So I've been stitching in a lot of that black. I'd finished the whole border. Well, I have not, I need to fill in the border, but I finished all the black of the border. And then I did a little bit of yellow. And the black is going to be a spider once I backstitch it. And then a little bit of the raven's head. And yeah, I absolutely love this piece. We'll see how I feel counting around to these little, there are a bunch of these little motifs here. There are a bunch of them around the raven's head. So we'll see how I feel counting around to things on 40 count, but with the border, there like wasn't much counting in empty space, so I didn't really feel that pain. I'm also really enjoying stitching with one strand. I did not think I would like that because I really, really love my loop start, but I'm really liking stitching with one thread. And yeah, I think I'm going to be doing that more. Okay. Next, we have, ooh, my needle minder just stuck to the table. Get off. That's a strong needle minder. Woo. My next start is Carrot Forest by Owl Forest Embroidery. Here we have like 1.5 carrots and a bunny and some border. That needle minder came with the kit. So I'm really liking the like green and brown. That's all one color. It's variegated. And the carrot is not showing up nearly as orange as it is in real life. It's like an orange and yellow variegation. It's a light orange. Like, I would say Crayola macaroni and cheese, if you know what I mean. And dang, this bunny is so stinking cute. I will say, I have a counting error in this piece. Shocking. But I caught it, and I can totally fix it. The counting error is that this stem here is a little too short, so this whole carrot is, you know, not as high as it needs, or not as low as it needs to be. And then I counted this off from this carrot. So this carrot is going to be wrong too, but I think I can just like add a couple of rows to it, and then it'll be all fixed. So we should be fine. Should be totally fine. And I learned my lesson from doing my Pride and Prejudice piece. I'm doing my border as I go, so I'm checking my counting all the time, which definitely is the way to go for me, for sure. So I just want to show real quick the threads for this piece because they are so stunning. I have this in a Love You More Studio sleeve, by the way. So these are the colors. That yellow-orange is like really just reflecting off the light. But we've got this light green, we've got this dark green and brown, and we've got this orangey red. And then this like yellowy orange. There you go. And then there's a white. So not that many colors, which I like. Many of you probably know, if you've been watching me for a little bit, that I stitch almost exclusively off of digital charts. And even when I purchase physical charts, I scan them in, and then I have them digitally, and I work off my iPad or my Kindle Fire for Pattern Keeper. And I don't want to show the pattern, but this is the back of it. It's real big. And it's because they printed it large on purpose so that it would be really easy to read. But because it's on these really big pieces of paper, they don't fit in my scanner, which I was not excited to discover. Thankfully, they also include little cutout pieces of the chart. And it's not like 100% of the chart is included in these cutouts, but like maybe 85% of the chart is in these cutouts. So I'm going to be able to scan those. In fact, I have already scanned those. So I can work off of those primarily, and then when I just need to see how they fit together, I can use the big paper copy. And I've got the little cutout pieces, I've got those labeled with the grid numbers so that I know where they go. But that was a fun discovery that I wasn't going to be able to scan in the whole chart. Big bummer. They were totally catering to people who read the physical charts, the paper charts, because they're like really big and clear and easy to read. So for the majority of stitchers, I'm sure that would be awesome. There is a fuzz. But for me, it was a bummer. All right. And last but not least, the last piece of stitching I have to show you is a new start. And this is, again, a timely piece. I decided, I've had a quote stuck in my head, and I was actually introduced to this quote from John Green, who, if some of you guys know, he makes YouTube videos with his brother Hank Green on Vlog Brothers, and he also is an author. He wrote a number of books, including Turtles All the Way Down and The Fault in Our Stars. Lots of books. I think actually Looking for Alaska just became a mini-series, which I'm looking forward to watching. But anyway, so something he likes to quote is that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And I started researching that quote. It has quite a history. Martin Luther King also quoted that, but he was not the original person who said it. I believe a pastor, maybe, which, of course, Martin Luther King was. But some kind of minister is the first person who said that, and it has been sort of shortened and changed through history. I believe the form of what I charted is what Martin Luther King said. I really like the longer quote, but it wasn't going to fit nicely in a cross stitch. So I bought an alphabet pattern online, actually a pack of patterns from Happy Sloth, I think. I think it's from Happy Sloth. I will put a link to the alphabet down below. And I charted up on some I used like the demo version of Max Stitch or something, and put the alphabet together into something that I really love. It's actually 2 alphabets. And so here it is, started up. And this cursive font is my favorite cursive backstitch that I've ever found. I have several, and I think it's stitching up so beautifully. The lines are really smooth. It's a joy to stitch. I really like it. And then this like cool stained glass window alphabet is gorgeous as well. And it's going to be really cool for the accent words. So the arc of the moral universe is long, will be in that font, and then, but it bends toward, and then justice will also be in that font. So, I believe I posted a picture of what this looks like finished on my Instagram. But if you're interested in this, I can't make this available because I didn't make up this alphabet. I didn't chart this. I just put the alphabet together. But if you can give me proof that you own this alphabet pack already, then I would be happy to share with you the screenshot of my chart that I took before the demo ran out. But yeah, proof to me that you bought this chart, the alphabet pack, and I'd be happy to share this with you. I am stitching that on a Color and Cotton Lugana 32 count. It is a limited edition color, so it does not have a name, unfortunately, but it is beautiful purple. And amusingly, I started this piece on a piece of Ada. It's like green and yellow. From Picture This Plus. I want to say it's called Highlands. And everything was going great until I got to the long. And I started doing those letters and realized that there were tons of places that I needed to come up in a split stitch, which I don't mind doing, but you can see in the O that like in the middle of the O that when you have to do it in a lot of squares in a row, that the thread you're stitching with just sort of like settles in between two of the Eta threads and starts to hide. And I've tried to like loosen it so that it doesn't do that, and I cannot. So not only was it annoying to split the threads a bunch, but it doesn't look good either. So I really love this fabric, but it was not working for this piece. So I am going to rip this out and use this fabric for something else. So I bought a lot of things. Let's start with needle minders, because I made a big needle minder purchase. This is the little magnetic board that I keep needle minders that are not currently in use. Only these two needle minders were on my board before like last week. Everything else is new purchases. So I'm going to show some of them to you now. First, from Awkward Elk. There's something that I learned this week. Sorry, there's a divot in my table from where my laptop was. Something I learned this week that bummed me out is that there are needle minder shops out there who are taking pins created by other makers. And I'm not talking like Harry Potter official merch. I'm talking about like small makers who work really hard to make really beautiful art, taking their pins and cutting a stock off the back and gluing a magnet to it and reselling it with no credit. And I'm not down for that. I didn't realize that this was a thing that people were doing until after I purchased some of these, so I hope that none of these are stolen, essentially. But I will be more careful of that in the future. The way I found out about this is that a maker that I really love, that I have pins to show you from this go round, one of their pins was being sold by a needle minder seller. And I knew that obviously that those pins didn't belong to them, that they didn't design them. So that was a bummer. Anyway, so I got this butterbeer needle minder. It's very cute. These are from Awkward Elk. And I bring this up because I'm a little bit worried that this shop may be doing something like that, but I don't know that for sure, so I'm not going to call them out until I know that. Then we've got the Grim, and around the bottom it says, "My dear, you have the Grim." Very lovely. Also from this shop, I got I Can't Adult Today. And this Mimbleless Mimbletonia that says there are all kinds of courage. Gotta love Neville, right? Okay. The next shop I bought needle minders from is Gina's Unique Boutique. And I got this feather needle minder from them. I believe this is a button. And it's wooden. And you basically get a random color and pattern feather, which was fun. Then from Namaste Embroidery, I got this adorable little hedgehog. And this pair of otters holding hands, which is so cute. And then finally, I made an order from Mad for Minders, which many of you probably know about already. I got a Tin Man, which I was thinking about using to stitch the Tin Man that I stitched for my dad, but it didn't get here in time. And also I was thinking of like leaving it on there when I gave it to my dad, but it's way bigger than I thought it was going to be. So it will not look good to stay on that piece. Continuing the Oz theme, we've got the Symbol of the Emerald City of Oz. And then we've got Dorothy herself holding the ruby slippers going, what are these? Then we've got a beautiful fox. Again, these needle minders are big. Even bigger than that, I got an elephant with a bit of a watercolor texture to it. My mom loves elephants, so whenever I see elephants, I think of her. And then I got a Van Gogh Sunflowers needle minder. Van Gogh is my favorite painter. And we've got this cool one. This is a Disneyland ticket. And it is good for several different attractions. It says exchange for choice of one. Main Street horse cars, Surrey's Main Street motor vehicles, or Tomorrowland 20,000 Leagues exhibit, or Fantasyland King Arthur carousel. So none of those things, I don't think, exist anymore. So I thought that was really cool. There was one that Mad for Minders had that I liked a little bit better than that one, just like the rides that were on it, but they were sold out of it. So that was my second choice. Now, I'm really excited about this. This is a market exclusive from Erica Michaels. Lions, Tigers, and Trims. Oh my. I'm obsessed with this. So I got this from Fire Poppies. This is my first time ordering from Fire Poppies, and I promise you it will not be my last. They were fantastic. I really appreciate an online LNS that has a good online experience, especially because I spent so much time without an LNS, and still the LNS I have is small and it has limited availability. And so, which hopefully they're going to be growing, assuming they do okay through all of the economic stress. By the way, my LNS is Cardinal Needleworks here in St. Louis, run by Angela, who also dyes color in cotton fabric and floss. Anyway, tangent. Got this from Fire Poppies. I've been looking all over for a shop that had this because I believe you had to like go to a class at Market to be able to get this. And I think the intention was for shops to then give that class to all of us. But Angela from my shop did not go to Market, so she would not have had this. Only a small subset of shops who went to Market had that. And I emailed around to people looking for it because I couldn't find it anywhere. And this may have been right at the beginning of quarantine, and people were not getting back to me. And the people who got back to me then when I was like, yes, I want it, then I never heard back from them again. Which I totally understand. I do not blame them. But Fire Poppies had a fantastic website, which I believe is new. I think I heard Garrett from Coffee Stitcher saying that their website was new. But I really recommend them, and they were super great to work with. So it also comes with the trim pack that I believe was done by Lady.Creates. I could be wrong, but I think so. It does not say anywhere that I can see, but I'm pretty sure. And it comes with, I guess there are only 2 colors in this chart, and it comes with both of them, Weeks Dye Works and a DMC, and the fabric as well. So looks like everything I need to do this is in here. The fabric is serged. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate. Anyway, let's just, sorry for the crinkle. Let's just revel at the gorgeousness of this chart. And there's more to it on the inside too. I haven't opened this up and looked at it. Oh yes, it is Lady.Creates. There's her logo right there. So I believe this is a sewing roll, and there's like more stuff for the inside, but I have not really opened that up and looked at it. Gosh, this is stunning. This was expensive. This was like over $50, I think. I haven't even opened it yet, and it was worth every penny. I'm so freaking excited to stitch that. Next. My phone needs to stop buzzing. I am a hot mess today. Next, we have a Blackbird Designs book. My first ever Blackbird Designs book. Home for the holidays. I am not like a Blackbird Designs fangirl, like seems like some people are in the stitching community. I'm still working on my prim taste, and so some of these are a little too prim for me. But since the moment I saw this, I absolutely fell in love with it and had to stitch it. I'm going to cover up the chart with something. Here we go. This piece right here. Obsessed. Obsessed. I bought this book only for that. Only reason I bought it. I looked through it a little bit. There's not a whole lot else that I'm interested in stitching in this book. But worth it because I've wanted that chart ever since I saw it. Next. I actually got this before my last video, but I forgot to show it. This is a Hardanger book written by Janice Love. And a friend of mine recommended this to me because I was saying that I was interested in trying Hardanger. I have not had a chance to like really pour over this, but it has such detailed explanations of things and charts and everything. And my friend told me that like this is by far the best resource that she's ever seen for Hardanger. So I'm really, really excited to try this out. I have a free Hardanger chart from Lakeside Needlecraft that I downloaded that I've been wanting to try. I got this book off of ABE Books, and it was like $3 to purchase and $3 to ship or something, or $4 to ship. Was not expensive at all. I think I just saw this book on the Silver Needles website, but it was more than I paid for it on ABE Books. This is a used copy, which is how I got it from ABE Books, but doesn't look like anybody wrote in it or anything like that. So yeah, excited about this. I think this shows some things that you can do with Hardanger. I just think it's so neat. All right. Next, I got Stitchrovia's book. I am very excited for this. I think it was Just Keep Stitchin' showed this on their channel, and I don't know what made me get it, because the charts that they showed I do not think are ones that like I would be super excited to stitch, so I don't remember why I was like, oh, I need that. Maybe I looked it up online and saw a couple of ones that I was interested in, but this one is my favorite in the book. That will be the first one that I stitch out of this book. I really, really love that. Also from this book, I like that one a lot. And then, what's the other one I really like? I like this one a lot too. This one reminds me of the quote from Fantastic Beasts where Newt says, worrying only means you worry twice. Anyway, so very excited for that. I got that off of Amazon. All right, I hope the light isn't getting too bad. The sun is going down. All right, next in haul. We're still going. I got from Hands On Design, and I actually won this from the Show Me Retreat. So excited to stitch that. And then I was watching a Bendy Stitchy video, and I think this was when she was stash diving. She showed this chart, and immediately I like paused the video and I was like, where is that from? I have to have that. Turns out it was from a magazine published in like 1992. So to eBay I went and I found it. Gosh, I love that. So on this side they show all of it with the border and the alphabet and the Be Thankful. And then over here they show like how you could pull it apart into different pieces, which I almost like better. I don't know. We'll see. Game time decision, probably. Y'all know, not the biggest fan of alphabets. All right. Next in haul, we've got some finishing supplies. These came from Fat Quarter Shop and one other place that I can't think of at the moment. If I remember, I'll put it in the description if it's important. It might have just been Michael's. I don't know. So I got some sequin pins, and most of what I got is for attempting Vanna's tutorial for flat folds, but also for experimenting with my new sewing machine. Also got some interfacing. Wait, this says batting. Did I get the wrong thing? Oh my god, please tell me I didn't get the wrong thing. I think I got the wrong thing. Great. Woo! Well, great. This order from Fat Quarter Shop, by the way, their customer service is fantastic, but it took like over a month to get here. Also, a hilarious purchase is I bought new fabric scissors because my fabric scissors from like middle school have totally been used tons on paper since then. But these fabric scissors are so huge. I should have looked at the measurements on them. They're really big. Then I got some various glues. I got some tacky spray, and I got some tacky glue, and I got some little squeeze bottles to have like really fine tacky glue, and I got a tacky glue pen. All the glue. Then I bought two like fabric packs. Let's see. This one says 18 by 22 inch. This one does not say how big they are, but I think they're smaller. Anyway, these I want to practice making pillows with my new sewing machine. So that's what I'm going to use these for. I'm sorry. I said I wasn't going to put things on the table so that it wouldn't shake it, but then I did. And then my last purchase was Thread Magic. So if you've never seen Thread Magic before, it comes in this little pot and it's got little holes all around it. When you open it up, it looks like kind of like clear chapstick on the inside. And I bought this when I was struggling with Kreinik on my Tin Man. I did two things when I was struggling on my Tin Man. First, I moved to a bigger needle. I was stitching on, I think that's 18 count, but I moved to a 24 size needle instead of a 26. And that made a really big difference. It widened the hole so that the Kreinik wouldn't like snag through the fabric the whole way through. Thread Magic kind of helped, kind of was super annoying. The thing I didn't like about it, I want to say this is made of like silicone, but it balled up a little bit on my thread and on my fingers, which I didn't really like. It was like tiny little pieces of balled up silicone. I don't think it had any impact on the finished piece, but it just wasn't nice to stitch with, and plus it took more time because I had to run each length through this thing. I think the needle helped more than the Thread Magic did, but honestly, I need all the help I can get when I'm stitching with Kreinik, so I'm glad I tried it. I don't know if I would use it again. Maybe if I was like struggling again, I would try it. All right, I've got quite a few pins to show you, and I was gonna stop showing my pins, but then it seemed like people were interested in seeing them, so I'm definitely gonna keep showing them. And I'm just gonna say right now, Michelle, if you're watching, I'm sorry, except I'm not. All right, so from Laser Brain Patch Co., we've got this gorgeous Hagrid's Motorbike pin. Hagrid's Motorbike is probably near the top of my favorite rides ever. And so I love that pin. All right. Next, from Good Pins. Whoops. If you are a Veronica Mars fan, you will appreciate this pin. And I want to shout out this seller. I got this from Etsy, and this seller was fantastic. There was a mistake with my order, not with the pin, but with something else that I ordered, and they responded to my message immediately, resent me the correct item, did not ask me to return the old item or send proof that it was wrong, and even offered to throw in something else for free. So thank you very much, Good Pins. Great customer service. Okay, next, from Sunset Road Co. This pin is huge. They are doing a series of trunks representing characters, and I showed in a previous video, I believe, the Weasley trunk, the Weasley twins trunk, and here we have Dumbledore's. Then also from them, we have the Unbreakable Vow. This is a gorgeous pin. Okay, from Mad Unicorn, this is part of my pin club, my monthly pin club that I'm in with them through Patreon. This is the Trelawney pin. This is a series of pins with a character wand and then some things about them, and that is stunning. That crystal ball is just so glittery and pretty. I really like this view of showing pins. I think I'm going to keep doing this in the future. Okay, now from co.pins, this is, I believe, a French maker. We've got a butterbeer with a chocolate frog. And we've got hot chocolate with some licorice schnapps and peppermint. And I think that's Luna's wand in there. I really got this one for the mug cauldron that it's in. And the peppermint stick. I'm not a fan of licorice, but I like the aesthetic, so we're going with it. And then my favorite creature one of my favorites in the Wizarding world is the Fwooper, mostly because it's called a Fwooper. And that is stunning. All right. Moving on to this maker is, I believe, called the Dancing Tomato Shop. And I already have the Hufflepuff one of these, and it's so cute. I had to get the rest. I don't usually go for a whole set of house things, but man, those are cute. We've got Ravenclaw. I think this one might be my favorite. It's so cute. Next, we have Witherwings Wizarding Wares. This shop tends to have, I have some of their stuff already. They tend to have some big pins, some pins that do interesting things, and they're relatively expensive. So we have Augusta Longbottom's hat and shawl wrap thing and bag. This is a fantastic pin. Then we've got Cat Hermione. And finally we have Ron and Lavender. And that's like a frosted glass look, which is really, really cool. All right, now I have here essentially 2 orders from Muggleborn Sisters because just after I received an order from them, then they released new pins and I had to buy another round. So this is what made me buy it. Oops. This is what made me buy a second time because they put out some more in this series and I just had to have them. So there's that one. And this one. I love this one because it reminds me of the parks. And we've got the greenhouses. Ooh, that one's having a hard time focusing. There we go. And finally, the astronomy tower. I forget the ones I have. I think I have the Quidditch pitch and Hagrid's hut. Yeah, I'm looking at my pin board across the room, and those are the 2 that I have. Next, and I dropped this on the floor. Next, so I think now we're on to my original order from them. And amusingly, I also have an order pending from them because it had a pre-order in it, so I was waiting for that to come in. So you're gonna see more pins from Muggleborn Sisters. They're one of my favorites. They have started doing a series of coins. This one has Ministry of Magic on this side, and on this side, a toilet. And it says alternate entrance. That's what the words say. And it came with this cute little card. And it says, "Welcome to the Ministry of Magic. Dear valued employees, due to unforeseen security concerns, we request that you enter the ministry by the alternate entrance found in the underground public toilets in Whitehall. Use the coins provided. Apologies for the inconvenience. So I appreciated that. Then they're doing a series of shop signs, so I definitely had to pick those up. We've got Borgin and Burks and Zonkos. And then finally from them, I've been eyeing this one for a while because I just think it's hilarious. Such a great joke. And they're doing a fun thing where with every order, you get a free Serious Social Distancing Club button. Again, a very good joke. All right, well, thank you for sticking with me through all of my pins, and I sincerely do not apologize if I enabled you. So, I'm going to keep chugging along on covers, as I said, try and finish out the May goal that I had. Also, try and finish out the goal that I had for Pride and Prejudice, which probably will not happen this month either, because essentially to finish that goal, I'm going to need to finish the project. Because I'm not going to get into that right now. As you saw with all of my FFO materials, I would like to FFO some things, but with the move and everything, I doubt that I'm going to get to work on that as soon as I would like. Bummer. But that'll definitely be on my radar of projects that I can work on if I've got time and the ability. Next, my Whip Go pulls for June were my piano piece and my butterflies piece. So those will be coming out in June for sure. My piano, my goal is to finish all the way across the top. That's a full coverage piece. And that will bring me to almost halfway through the piece. It was like an uneven number of blocks of 100. So I think I did 300 stitches in a row, and then I'll do 400 in the next row, and then it'll be done. And then butterflies, I think my goal is to do 2 of them, but I think I'm going to try and do 3 if I can. Also, I had been doing Peppermint Purple's Year of Blackwork Sal, and I put it down in like February and have not picked it back up again. And I really miss it. Other things have been more of a focus. I think I was stitching a ton of Be Well and Stitch patterns in March. And then I was doing a bunch of Catch Up and Whip Go in April. And then May was Maynia. So now I'm like, it's been 3 months since I stitched on my blackwork piece, and I really miss it. So I'm hoping to get caught back up on that. In my last video, I talked about Christmas in July. With the move, I don't know what that's going to look like for me, if I'm going to be able to do that. I had some suggestions because I was talking about being a little bit overwhelmed, that I have too many whips. And I had some suggestions that like, maybe I do Christmas in July, but work on something start to finish rather than starting a bunch of things. And I think that's a good idea. I have a couple of Mill Hill kits that maybe I could work on, and those are already kitted up, and those would be fun and easily contained and small. So I think that's what I might do. I also have a bunch of scanning I have to do. Charts like this. Things like by the way, this is the cover of the magazine that the sunflowers came from. But so getting that. I don't know where it is anymore. Getting the sunflowers scanned in. I'm hoping to get all my scanning done before we move so that I can get all my charts put away in one place and safe and sound. Although I have done quite a bit of purchasing over the last week, and so yeah, there's going to be even more scanning. But hopefully I can, like, I don't know, keep everything contained as well as I can. All right. Last item of business. I have showed before on here my Hade. I'm stitching A Christmas Carol, and I really, really love it. I really love it, but I'm not very far along. I want to say I'm maybe 4,000 stitches in, which is like a tiny little corner. I didn't bring it out to show you, but it's a tiny little corner of this piece. I'm stitching it 1/1 on 28 count. And I think that I made a mistake when I started this piece, because I have decided I need to be doing only one full coverage BAP at a time. I don't feel like I make enough progress on a full coverage BAP if I'm flitting around between projects. And I have made my Harry Potter's covers collage the focus, at least for this year. I'm hoping the focus until it's done. But that makes me feel like Christmas Carol is languishing. And also, I feel like I'm learning a lot as I stitch through this first full coverage piece that I'm doing. And there are things now, having started Christmas Carol and done the tiny little corner that I've done, there are things that I know that I would do differently for next time. Except that Christmas Carol has hundreds of thousands of stitches in it. So that's a really long time before I get to implement those learnings for the next time. And it would be a big bummer to, like, not enjoy stitching on it because there were things that I didn't know when I kitted it up. The primary thing that bums me out about that project is that I did not get a pre-gridded fabric. I didn't know that pre-gridded fabrics existed. And at the time I was using fabric pens for gridding, like water-soluble pens. And the pen is just too thick to be able to mark the 28 count effectively. So then I tried out like gridding thread, which, if you haven't used that before, it's basically a one-stranded piece of thread similar to fishing line, so that you don't accidentally pierce it while you're stitching. You can stitch around it. But I really, really, really did not like stitching while the grid was in, like stitching right up next to the grid. I really didn't like that. I felt like if I stitched over top of the grid, that it would distort my stitches, and stitching underneath the grid was painful and annoying. And putting in the grid was annoying. I really didn't like doing that. Now that I know that easy count or easy grid, whatever it's called, fabric exists, I'm like, why didn't I do that? And the other thing that I think I might change is, rather than stitching it on 28 count, I might stitch it on 25. I know that will make it bigger, but when I started, I was really, really worried about coverage, and I did a bunch of tests, and I felt like I had the best coverage 1/1 on 28 count. But honestly, I think I was wrong. I think I've done a lot more stitching since then, and I think that 25 count will be better. And that's what is recommended to stitch for Hades. It's what I know a lot of people choose for stitching Hades. And I think there's a reason for that. I don't hate the 28 count. If it was just the 28 count and the gridding wasn't an issue, I think I would keep going. But so we've got two factors here. One, I kind of feel like I want to put Christmas Carol aside so that I can focus on one full coverage BAP at a time. And Harry Potter covers is further along. It's been my focus for this year, so it's gonna be my focus, I think, for a while. And then the second thing is that there are some things that I would change about what I'm doing with Christmas Carol. So if I work on it anymore, I think I'm gonna feel frustrated by having to restart it. But where I am now, I think I feel okay having to do all that again. I mean, it's not great, but it's around like 30 or 40 hours of stitching, which for a full coverage BAP that's going to take me years and years and years to complete, that's not the end of the world. So I'm at the very least going to put that project aside for now. And I'll keep thinking on it and see what I'm going to do in the future. But I'm not even going to buy fabric for it to restart it until I'm much, much further along on Harry Potter covers. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you because it's been on my mind, and I wanted to explain why you're probably not going to see that one come out again this year. It is on my Whipco board one more time. And Whipco doesn't really have any hard and fast rules. Like, it kind of does, but Jessie Marie is very relaxed about it and just like, make this what you want. You're making your own rewards anyway. So I think I'm going to replace it with just another page, another half page of Harry Potter covers and call it a day. So I think that's it. I think we did it. I think we made it to the end. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Thank you for supporting me. And I hope that we can all be kind to each other in the comments. And yeah, I hope that you are staying engaged in the world, what's happening in the world, that you're staying engaged, but you're also giving yourself breaks, because it is a lot and it is okay to take a break, but you got to stay engaged. You got to keep working. And I'm going to do my best to keep doing that. I'm going to do my best to take in new learning and educate myself and do the work to educate other people so that Black people don't have to, because they shouldn't have to. All right. Yeah. Endings are hard.